What's going on, AXCFL? It is your boy Regan here, back with the second episode of Pardon Regan's Interruption podcast. We're missing one of our normal crew members. We're down one guy, Wings, but we have replaced him with a much more valuable and successful in the XCFL at throwing interceptions. Excuse me, Mr. Guac. So Guac will be our big guest here on the show. We've always got our traditional roster of Bracket. Bracket, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Doing good. And big man Drew.
Hello.
Hello, aloha. And then we got Mr. Avocado Sauce Guac, Mr. The one and only Coach Guac. Guac, appreciate you joining us on the show today, buddy. What are your thoughts about Pardon Regan's interruption? What'd you think about the last episode, and what are you thinking about being on this one?
I think it's gonna be a shit show, and I'm so excited. Um, I think it's gonna be like a Comedy Central roast, and I'm a fan. I just get to bullshit and make fun of Kevin for. I love this. This is great. I think it's gonna be fun.
I agree. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to what everybody's got planned here. We got a good show for you today. A lot of good notes taken. I actually took notes today for the first time in I think years. Um, I can tell because I can't read my own writing, but that's okay. We'll get through it together. Drew, I know you're going to be our leadoff batter for this series. For the first question, it's going to be our early season surprises. People that have either, and these are going to be mostly users, our XCFL users that have overperformed or underperformed through the first 4 weeks and 4.5 technically, because we're about to finish week 5. But so we'll say the first 5 weeks because we're watching the end of these last few games now. Who has been the most impressive and the least impressive throughout these first 5 weeks? Drew, I know you have one that's most impressive, and why don't you go ahead and give it a shot?
So my most impressive is actually going to be a team who beat the only team that beat me, which is the Will and the Jets. Um, I kind of I walked in the game against Will, playing him in the preseason, beat him by I think 30. Just kind of thinking, I'm gonna walk all over him. It's gonna be easy. I don't even have to try, and I end up losing 18-16. I mean, Will's sitting at 3-2 right now. But he had a high at the start of the year. Beat Rob by 6 in overtime. Beat Higgy by 14, and then beat me by 2. But then he lost to a team by 13, and then lost to the Patriots by 26. So I mean, he might be coming down now, but I mean, he's got Brian next, which is kind of an easier one right now. Brian's still throwing to the wrong colored jerseys. And then he's going Bills, Texans, Falcons. So I mean, he doesn't have a terrible schedule coming up. So I mean, early in the year, Will really impressed me. I couldn't get a stop. Um, Kept my defense off balance, and I mean, his defense himself, he picked me off 3 times. It wasn't bad at all. But congrats to Will on a good start to the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Will has had an outstanding season so far, and I think it's really goes to show what one season and one decent draft can do for you. He picked up a few nice pieces in the offseason. He had a pretty rough season last year, placing in the top 10 of this last year's draft. He actually got to add two nice pieces because he had my first pick because of the Jamal Adams trade, and he had his own. And I didn't make the playoffs last year, as everyone knows, so my pick was around like 19, 18. So that was pretty convenient for him, even with 10 and 6. But that's a story for another time. Mr. Avocado, Mr. Coach Guac, I know you have one of our underperformers. Who, in your opinion, has underperformed so far through these first 5 weeks?
No disrespect, but I have to bring up Kylo, um, and his tough start to the season. Um, Kylo has, yeah, like I said, underperformed. He's playing like I play. He's not saying that he's not having close games, but I think it all boils down to him not being our Raiders user. Um, I think that all comes. It's a curse. I think Nick cursed him, and I don't know if he's gonna make it out of this little endless pit here. I know it sucks, and I hope he comes back from it. And I like him, and he's offered to help me. He's a great guy, and I hope he starts playing better and winning some games. But as of right now, he's in the dumps with me without a win.
Yeah, if somebody had told us that the first 5 weeks of the season would go by and Avocado Sauce and Mr. Kylo Ren would have the same amount of wins, I would call you crazy. So
I know, man.
it's unlikely. I think that he has been busy with work. That has been his chief excuse. He's only played I think 2 or 3 of those games, but still, for a guy that was in the playoffs and actually a Super Bowl favorite by some stretches, uh, I mean, for him to just be completely held without a win is very unsettling. So, um,
Definitely something to keep your eye on.
for sure, I would agree with that entirely. And I definitely think Guac. I just want to point out to you. You said that Nick might have cursed him. I'm pretty sure Doss cursed the man. I think he did some weird like voodoo magic and whipped it out from his time in the military. He was serving in Cambodia or somewhere where they have like witch doctors, and he used
Vietnam.
that little, yeah, he just cursed them. He said, you know what, from here on out these Raiders are just gonna suck, and he did some little like rain dance and zip zip zap. I mean, there goes the Raiders' chances at ever winning a Super Bowl. So, but still, the Raiders in Kylo's hands are in way better chances of winning a Super Bowl than they ever were in Doss's. So I will say that here, Doss. No chance you're listening to this, but just one last pew shot over the bow and bracket. Why don't you go ahead and give us your like one of your overperformers that are really like, showing us up these first 5 weeks of the season.
So for me, it's going to be busy. He's the first guy to get down on himself and tell you he's getting lucky and this and that and the other thing. But the guy's playing good football. He's only allowing 17 points a game, and I think that's partly I think that's partly due to his pass rush, which he just beefed up by coming to get Calais Campbell. I think that defense is only going to get better as we go on, and I think that Busy might be for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. His defense is pretty good. He's got a very untraditional offense, but his offense is finding success as well. He's getting scores. Tell us how he's doing it on the offensive side of the ball, Bucket.
So he scored 29 points a game for his average, which is pretty solid, I believe. Um, he's got a really strong connection with his running backs. Mostert posted 400 yards rushing. Tight ends, he's sharing the ball pretty well. He's got 200 yards apiece for Kittle and Samuel, and then you got Hunter Henry with 102. So he's sharing the ball a lot, but I'm guessing that he's getting a lot of possessions inside opponents' halves.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. He's getting a lot of turnovers, and when you get a lot of turnovers and you play that ball control offense, that'll really be in your favor. So, great points there. And Busy, props to you, sir. You're having a fantastic season. We didn't get to catch the end of the Cardinals game, so hopefully we'll see what those results are there. We're kind of filming this right at the end of Week 5, moving into Week 6 advance. So, I did prepare some answers for these questions. Mine is going to be Higgy. Higgy's an underperformer this season. Higgy's one of our former Super Bowl winners and one of our better offensive users, I think, in the previous few Maddens. He's been held to less than 30 points every one of these 5 games, and he's playing not the best users, but um, he's playing some good users. He's playing some bad users, but or traditionally bad users. Don't want to call anybody out, but I mean, for example, like he loses to Nick. That one's kind of a given. Willinger, who's on a tear, runs through. Higgy runs into his stadium and gets lambasted by 38 points, 38 to 24, and 14 points. A 14-point victory for the Jets, putting 38 points on the board. The Chiefs end up beating him in Arrowhead. So that's again, he's kind of going on the road, having some tough battles, but he's lost every single one of them. He's 0-5, which is a little bit surprising considering Higgy is one of our better users in the league. I think he's disappointed with how the season started. Nobody wants to start 0-5, and then he gets the chance to turn it around, or maybe not turn it around, against VBD, who is an equally good user and might just putting this guy to 0-6 heading into his bye week in week 7. So definitely unfortunate. Um, from it's unfortunate for Higgy because I think he is a good user, and I think he's really looking for a quarterback in this draft. One might suggest that this tough season might come at a pretty good time for him considering the two top quarterbacks that are in the draft this year. They have pretty good throw power. He likes those high throw power guys to get it out to his burners. I think quarterback play is really holding him back this year, and defense obviously is an issue as well. But he's always drafted really well late rounds for defense. He just needs time to build those guys up. Our next segment is going to move on to our MOP standouts. Who is our way too early prediction for most outstanding player in the XCFL for season 2 of this cycle, which would be season 40 overall? Drew, I know we kind of broke it down positionally. We've got Drew leading us off with our workhorse running backs that could all be potential, the running backs that could have potential to actually win that award, like we saw last year with Kenyon Drake. Then Guac is going to go out and get us our quarterbacks. He's going to talk about our quarterbacks, which quarterbacks are standing out the most this cycle or the first part of the season. And then Brackett is going to follow us up with our wide receivers, and I'll take us away with our defensive players. So defensive players haven't gotten a lot of love, so I'm looking forward to my section. But Drew, lead us off with our workhorses, buddy.
So the first one, obvious pick, is going to be Kenyon Drake again. He's got 79 carries through 5 games, through 4 games actually. Almost at 600 yards, 7.1 yards per carry is huge. I mean, there's only 4 running backs in the league right now averaging above 7 yards. And then you put 6 touchdowns to his name, and he's averaging over 110 yards a game. I mean, that Pride loves his running backs. What was that one from Green Bay? Vernon.
Vernon, the legend.
Yeah, Vernon. What a guy. So that's my first pick. That's my favorite. And then right below him is another one from the NFC West and Cam Akers. Second year with Ace and the Rams. He's averaging 7.2 yards a carry, which is zero point 0.1 more than Kenyon Drake, and he's got 11 touchdowns to go with it. Ace has had trouble throwing the ball a little bit, so why not put it on the ground and let the running back just go at it? And then my third one is actually going to be, we're gonna go. Let's see, Leon Hodge, the running back from Denver. He's got 61 carries through 5 games, 330 yards, 5.4 average, 4 touchdowns. Now, this doesn't seem like a clear-cut favorite right now, but I think when Higgy figures out that Drew Lock absolutely sucks and will start running the ball a little bit, I think Leon Hodge could come out of nowhere. But I think we're gonna have a little situation where Higgy went 4-12. There's no way. So those are my picks. Hodge is a long shot, but I think Akers or Drake could very well win it.
I think those are great picks, Drew. Clearly, those 3 are the only real running back contenders for this year's award. I mean, I can't think of any other ones. I know there's there's some you could mention potentially, but they're just no chance. I don't think the voters like these 3. I think these 3 are respected around the league as real, very valid threats. And Hodge, I mean, again, Hodge is one that I think clearly is the number 3 back. You've got those top 2 that are pretty high up there, nobody else, and then you've got number 3 right above the top tier of everybody else. I think those three are clearly the only possible options. I think you did a great job, Drew. Now,
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely, sir. So, just props to you on a very well done segment. And Mr. Guac, give us your quarterback, your quarterback picks. So we, as in all seriousness, guys, we're all about honesty here on the Pardon Regan's Interruption podcast. We gave Guac quarterbacks because who knows quarterbacks better than the guys who really do a good job of making good quarterbacks look terrible. So, Mr. Guac, do do us a favor and go over your favorite players of this season 40.
Oh, wow. That was one hell of an introduction, Regan. Thank you for that.
Just
By the
setting
way,
just setting standards really high. That's my goal.
yeah, I love that intro. It's fantastic. You said my top picks. I only have one top pick. I believe Hubert, sorry, Herbert the pervert, Justin Herbert. um,
And then
he's
Nick's
got
like, okay, now time to trade him.
10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions with a 4-1 record under Nick. Who's clearly a great user and he likes the long ball. 173 total points scored by Justin. He's just a monster, and I think if Nick continues to use him and beat the shit out of Higgy, and I think I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility that he is the MOP.
I think it's a very valid point. He is kind of standing above the rest right now. You've got Burrow, who's had a pretty good season last year, but kind of dragging a little bit.
Shut his ass down.
Yeah, the Titans. If the Titans can beat Burrow, not a chance he wins MOP. Yeah, nah, he loses my vote right away. So yeah, I love those picks, Guac. Thank you for that. And Mr. One and only Buckalicious, who is your wide receiver picks? Because so he's going with the wide receivers. We got those are wide receivers and tight ends. You get both, any kind of pass catchers, and no running backs that catch more than 70, 75 passes a season. They do not count as wide receivers.
Fair enough. Well, I think I gotta go with Joey Hess, the rookie for Nick. I mean, it's a dangerous offense, and winning is relevant. So if you look at the other top receivers, you see a lot of dudes that are kind of struggling. So Nick likes to talk about those being empty stats. You're always throwing the ball late in ball games, kind of thing. And you got Rides, DJ Chark. You got John's tight end Griffey, and then Sean's Paris Campbell. So I mean, you can't take away what they're doing because they're still impressive seasons, but you got to kind of look at who's winning you ball games. Joey has 24 catches at 535 yards, 4 touchdowns, so he's doing a damn good job. It's got to be a receiver. I think it's going to be Joey Hess.
That's a great point. And rumor does have it on the street that our one and only Commissioner Nicholas Larson might have been considering pulling the PRI podcast from the shelves of XCFL Network. So, we had to just throw a couple quick, shout outs his way because we're just trying to keep the show on the air, doing everything we can to, play the politics game. No, I'm kidding.
Is that what the $50 is for?
Yeah, no, that we don't talk about that. That never happened. We're cutting that out. Now, but no, he's having a great season. All jokes aside, Herbert, I think is, he's nasty. I think the 6 interceptions is a little much for some of these guys, but considering we've got guys like Max Stanford throwing 17 compared to 6 touchdowns, I just don't think it's. I don't think. Yeah, I'd cough too. That's pretty bad. But yeah, so for defensive players, I really like. For me, pressure is key. And look no further than Mr. Tack McKinley for
Yes.
for our good old fashioned guac over here. 7 sacks on the year, playing for a garbage can team. You know for a fact that this team, any team they play, they're done passing by the third quarter. So, by the rules, the rules they state that they literally cannot pass. So the fact that this man has 7 sacks in essentially half the time is very impressive to me. I mean, Tack has been an XCFL legend pretty much since he's been in the league. Since Jack turned him into a god back in Madden in 19, I think. 19, he's been a household name, making the top 25 that first year. And then second year still had a pretty good impact with the Jets, but nothing quite as much as he did his first year. But glad to see Tack back on the record sheets. Another guy that potentially to watch is that Aaron Donald, 7 sacks. I know that Ace likes to use him. He's nasty. Both of those guys have 7 sacks. We had Montez Sweat on here before, but I think that one of these guys overtakes him. I think that Jack has a lot of production coming up from a lot of different positions there. He's got a lot of sacks. I mean, he has Joel Waddell with 6 sacks as well. I'm not talking about Harold Landry, 6 tackles for loss. Those are beginner level hours. Um, those are rookie numbers. Got to pump those up, Drew. Now, as far as
So
like DBs go, Darnell Savage is again having a hell of a year. 4 interceptions, 9 deflections. Uh, he's got 2 tackles for loss as well from the free safety position, and he's not forcing any fumbles, which is surprising because he does have a little bit of pop to him. But I think that it bears to be said that what he brings to the table as far as as a safety, it can't be overstated. So the 4 picks is huge. It's actually it's just 3 behind what the league lead is, which is with Micah Hyde, the old man Hyde at 30 years of age, tearing it up, getting 7 interceptions. Which again, Micah Hyde is absolutely on this list, as potential guys to watch. Now Marcus Williams is another with 6 interceptions. It's really going to come down to their total amount of interceptions. Something else to be noted is Darnell Savage actually has 3 touchdowns, which through 5 games is very impressive. William Jackson is another one with 3 touchdowns, but doesn't have near the interception numbers. So clearly to me, Darnell Savage as a DB, the leading DB right now is going to be Darnell Savage, by far, for Van, and of course he's going to lead them to a XCFL ring come February. Clearly, Van is going to be the Super Bowl champion, but that's another story for another day. So we've covered that. I want to cover one linebacker who, above all, has really stood out to me. Now, linebackers are hard to gauge because they don't get as many interceptions usually, but they do make a pretty big impact in forced fumbles, in everything. They're kind of a jack of all trades type, and for me, that jack of all trades is going to be Roquan Smith. He has 4 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 3 deflections. He's forced a fumble. He has a defensive touchdown. He's having a great season for Hammer. He's a nasty player, very fast, and I think that you could really see him. He's got a stat in everything that can have a stat. He's just the kind of guy you want quarterbacking your defense. You want somebody with a lot of versatility, and I think a lot of the guys that I mentioned really have shown out this season. So props to them, and best of luck for the rest of the MOP candidates that we've mentioned. Hope that they end up being the champions here. Those are all very valid names. Really glad that, and I don't think we left anybody off this list. Do you guys think?
I
That
I
list is really solid.
I agree.
don't, especially in the running back department.
Totally.
I think I picked the 3 best guys.
Agreed.
But I do actually have a little bone to pick with someone. It's
yeah?
actually gonna be you, Regan. Harold Landry. Can you
God.
tell me when the last time a block punt in the XCFL has happened?
I can't.
No.
I can't. No, I cannot.
Okay, I just want to let you know, in 4 games this year, Harold Landry has 2 blocked punts.
That would explain why he has 2
Impressive.
forced fumbles. All right, that is kind of impressive.
No, those forced fumbles are from sacks because the game doesn't keep track of special team stats.
Oh,
So,
so
he's got 2
technically it
blocked
never
punts.
happened. Is that what you're saying?
No, one went for 2 against Riot, and one was actually the difference maker in the Week 5 Bengals game.
So what you're saying is, if Nick doesn't have proof that it ever existed, I don't think it goes on the MOP card. So
I will go get those clips.
I don't know if that happened, dude. I don't know. It might be. It could have been from a different franchise. It could have been. It could have been faked. If it's not on the stat sheet, I don't think it happened.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And Drew proceeds to screech inside. But oh man, yeah, no, I agree. He is having a great season. I got to give you props, buddy. He's having a good season. Good tackles for loss. I mean, he is definitely up there as well. As far as he's a good outside linebacker, defensive end type of player, and best of luck to him in his future. And hopefully those block punts do actually have clips. Because if not, I mean, I don't know if it happened. I really don't. But yeah, moving on to our last bit, we've got just a little bit more for you, and this is going to be our Crown Snatchers segment. So, who is most likely? We've got a few divisions here that are going to be most likely to do this, but who is most likely to overturn the previous king of the division in each division? Now, Drew, I know you're going to be our leadoff batter. So, what division do you think is going to be overthrown, and who's the team that's overthrowing, and which team is getting overthrown?
Okay, so my pick is actually going to be the AFC East. Um, for those of you that don't know, um, there's basically three teams in this division. You got the Patriots, Jets, and Bills. Um, right now, the Patriots won it last year, and they're currently sitting on top at 4-0. Um, Brapp is doing his thing. I haven't really played him, but I mean, he's allowed 98 points to 100 and scored 147, so he's not doing terrible. And then I talked about Will earlier, so we don't have to go through all that again. But Will did lose to Brad 40-14, and then Um, you got Rob, who's really should if you watch his games, he really should be 3-2 or 4-1. A couple close games, couple animations that didn't go his way. But if I had to pick somebody to overthrow Braff, it would probably be Will and the Jets. I know the 40-14 was terrible, all that, but I really think that coming off of, I mean, this is going to be the fourth time playing Brapp towards the end of the year, and I think he has a chance to get it figured out. And if he gets over the hump beating Brapp, I mean, he's not going to have any trouble with the Bills and the other team that's in the AFC East. We don't even have to bother mentioning anything that's going there because there's not much. But yeah, I mean, Jets have a chance to snatch that crown, and Rob's not too far behind.
I agree. I think those are really the only viable contenders in that division, like you mentioned. Rob could turn it on late. I think that's a great pick. It's a sleeper pick. He's a dark horse in the AFC East. But again, that AFC East is kind of a dumpster fire as far as user talent is concerned, especially with the bottom dweller of the division. But we don't want to talk about that guy. I definitely think Rob has a chance to make a late tear and finish second, if not first, in this division. I agree. Clearly, he's the fourth best user, just doesn't have a chance in this division, so it's not worth mentioning. So anyway, the moving on, Mr. Avocado Sauce, our beautiful, wonderful 0-5 user here. Sir, wait, actually, don't we have two of those on here? We're gonna talk about that bracket. You wanna?
I'm not 0-5.
No, he beat Doughboy.
What? Doughboy, you let me
Yes,
down.
sir.
That's
Suck it,
unacceptable.
Doughboy.
That's unacceptable. See, okay, that's it. I'm bringing Smokes back. You're getting 95% zone thrown at you, buddy. Nah. You can't be winning this season. I have your first. It's unacceptable. So sorry,
Anybody
Guac.
but Smokes.
Stealing anybody. Yeah, Drew. Don't talk about Smokes in front of Drew. Drew's not okay with that. He's not okay. He still hasn't gotten over that. But I don't think Nick has either, by the way. But that's a separate talk. Guacalicious. Sorry for taking the floor from you, sir. I know you've already muted your mic again. You're like, Regan's going on. He's interrupting. I'll just mute my mic. So, sir, yeah, go ahead, man. Who's your division, and who's got the crown currently, and who's going to be snatching that crown?
All right, I've got the NFC West,
Ooh,
your division.
Interesting.
Yeah, your division, man. I was gonna come in here hyping you up, but now it's just, I don't know.
Oh, it's okay.
You
I wouldn't
see,
be very hype either. I've played the, you know. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
What are you saying about the AFC South?
I mean, I've played the entire. I'm 4-1, and 3 of those wins came from Drew's division mates. I'll let you do the math.
Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna start now. So the division crown holder is Pride in the Cardinals. I think Regan has a hell of a shot of taking that crown for him. We've seen how Regan can play. Last cycle, winning 2 Super Bowl titles. He doesn't have the same amount of talent on the field as he did in last cycle. With Lamar Jackson, a dual threat quarterback. But he does have Russ. I mean, Russ is Russ. But I do think. I mean, I don't know, but Busy could take out. There's really 3. there's three viable contenders in this division. You don't really know what's going to happen. You just saw Pride hand Busy and L. What was the score? 47-7, 49-7. I'm sorry. So you really just don't know what's going to happen. But I think Regan's going to take the crown from the Cardinals. I don't know. And Busy could be the underdog. We're just not sure. Yeah. So Regan, I'd like to see you dig yourself out of that hole and get yourself some playoff hopes. That'd be cool, man.
I certainly appreciate that. Guac, your vote of confidence does mean a lot to me. I think that you're a very good judge of talent, and in no way do I ever want to question your judgment. So, do want to mention. So we hyped up Busy at the beginning of the show. Uh, Busy would have been on here, but then he got curb stomped in the middle of our show, 49-7 by Pride. So the guy that owns the crown pretty much told Busy exactly where to shove it, and it's tough. We want to just say rip. The busy hype train might have come to a screeching halt this game. So, but Busy. To be fair, Busy is tied with me, Pride, and himself at 4-1. So everybody's at 4-1 right now. Anything can happen. Hopefully he learns from this loss and moves on forward. But yeah, when we're talking about crown snatchers, you never want to get curb stomped by the guy that wears the crown. Whenever we're talking about this, so I'm just lucky enough to have not played Pride yet. So, Mr. Bracket, who's our third division with the most likely contenders to steal a crown? And the floor is yours. I will not interrupt you.
All right, sounds good.
Psych. No, okay, go ahead.
Oh my god. All right, so I'm gonna take the NFC North. I mean, we saw Van play some really good football last year to take the crown, and this year we got somebody else that's willing to play for it. Hammer just spanked me, at least for the first two quarters. It wasn't close. I was able to kind of pull some things together at the end, be it good luck or maybe just some lax play on his end. I was able to make it somewhat close, but he waxed me. It just, I think that he had
Seductive.
eight. I think he had eight completions with 4 touchdowns at one point in the game, which is just embarrassing.
Especially with a secondary like that.
Yeah, I think Hammer and the Bears are going to make some noise for us this year.
He has a pretty good receiving core. I think it's underrated for sure, and slept on. But yeah, I think
sure.
he's certainly a contender. And I mean, of course, you can't neglect to mention Diesel at 2-2. I don't know if he finished. No, he must have been on bye. So he's 2-2 going into week 6. So on the bright side, he's got quite a bit of games left to prove, and he did get to the NFC Championship last season, so that can't be neglected either. So great picks, guys, great picks. And now I'm going to move on to, oh yes, this is going to be fun. The AFC South with the reigning king is going to be Prince. The jester is going to be Brian.
NFC South.
NFC South. Thank you. I appreciate that. But Bracket, I appreciate your interruption.
Start that over.
Thank you. No, yeah. So we're gonna move on now to the NFC South. The the reigning champion is gonna be Prince and the Saints, much to the disapproval of Brian. Brian is not a huge fan of Prince right now. Prince is not very high on Brian's list of favorite individuals in this league right now. Now,
stretch.
it was like stretch. Oh, freaking stretch! Another one. Oh my god, dude, what the hell? Yeah, like, and it's like very quiet. You could tell his girlfriend slash fiance thing. I don't even know anymore.
Slash leader
slash supreme leader slash jailkeeper. Yeah, he you could tell he was trying not to wake her up, but he was not thrilled. But Prince is the current leading champ of this division. Both the guys are 3-2, and ironically, that leaves one man standing alone at the top of the pile. Now, before I go into this, I see JMO's 4-1, and I think to myself, what mentally incapacitated, completely incapable Madden user would allow a JMO, of all people, a JMO, to go 4-1. And I go look at his record. I say, the only way, and in my head I'm thinking, the only way he could have gone 4-1 is, oh, okay, I see it now. He's already played the Falcons twice. So thank you, Guac, for being the conductor on JMO's hype train of it's gonna be, it's a balloon that's got bigger and bigger and bigger. I know he was thrilled. He's like, I started 4-1, and we're like, yeah, that. And I mean, you did score though in your second meeting, so congrats on that. But also, I'm not thrilled with you because I need JMO to chill out a little and staff. He's kind of thinking he's good now because he beat you twice out of his 4 games he's played. So yeah, I'm gonna need you to chill a little. So anyway, so clearly, JMO aside, because we know he's a non-factor. Brian is the one guy who's gonna be potentially taking the crown from Prince. But my question to you, gentlemen, is: has Prince overtaken Brian's previous uh, Brian's headspace owners? Is he the new neighbor in Brian's headspace next to Boone, next to Kylo? I feel like there was a third. Isn't Irek in there somewhere in Brian's headspace? Who all
Has
owns
to be.
properties? Oh, Drew. I know you were trying to buy some rent up there. You did, and then you sold it because you went to the softest division in the XCFL. I remember that now. Um, you were close, dude. You were so close. I mean, you had it. You had the broker. I mean, you had the loan. You were all good to go. It was cleared, and then you just said, you kind of slid out the back door, and they're just like, "Wait, wasn't this guy buying this house?" And Drew's just all they see is taillights. So, um, and Drew just going 80 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood, getting the hell out of Brian's headspace. Oh man. So no, but for real, I think Brian's got to figure out himself. He can't just lose his mind every time he plays Prince. So Brian, you got to look in the mirror, do something better, and get over this hump and really try to because the division's weak. You can take it. Go snatch that crown, son. So that wraps up my segment. Last part is going to be our two. We added something. We have our user of the week, of course, but we also have our clown of the week, our PRI's clown of the week. So we're going to award this to each guy that has the most freezing cold take, the worst, just like the head scratching, like, wait, you said this? We caught you on tape saying this? And that would be our good friend, Mr. Drew. Drew, would you please accept our beautiful, to-be-decided mantle of clownliness? And would you like to tell everybody kindly what you did to deserve your clownship?
I think the easier question to answer would be what didn't I do?
That is
Um,
that's a fair question.
Because if you ask me what I did do for it, I did a ton. For starters, how long was our last episode? Like
Too
45
long?
minutes.
Yep, 45 minutes.
So, I mean, in that 45-minute segment, you could probably pick out maybe one right thing I said that whole entire time.
Hi, my name is Drew.
Um,
Yeah, that was the correct one.
yeah. I think the opening and the leaving was a good part.
Leaving, yes, leaving was good.
Leaving was the best decision I made at the end of that. But yeah, for starters, I mean, I lost two. I guaranteed a win against
There's no way I lose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was. And Brackett, congrats to you on that one. You picked that one out. You said, nah. You're like, once he gets on a roll, he's not stopping him. And
You know what? Part of me thinks that Brackett knew that I would get, what was it, 82% zone ran against me. And he was like, I know Drew cannot beat zone, and he was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to
I
say
told Smokes
anything.
to do it. Yeah.
Oh,
easily.
hold on.
We've got
Well, no,
collusion here. Collusion discovered in the PRI podcast.
Yeah, but we got to keep Brackett in the league because I mean, really, if a team gets lucky enough to get matched up against the Ravens, Falcons, and they have that bye week, I mean that's basically 3 bye weeks. But
That was the saddest chuckle I've ever heard for Brackett. He's just like, huh. He, like,
Yeah.
kind of like it hurts, but he like thinks it's funny, but it like part of him's like that. I don't think I'm gonna recover from this season.
Okay, but I don't I
That's
don't mean to be
exactly
turning
what I was feeling.
I don't mean to be turning the camera away from me, but yeah, every single pick I made was wrong. I'm thinking about it now. I really yeah no I can't think of one thing that I said that was right except maybe wings.
Fair, fair.
But other than that,
Yeah,
that
and Wings
was
was with you on a lot of those picks, but he's not here to answer for the clownliness, and unfortunately, you are my friend. So congratulations. Yeah, guaranteeing the win over Smokes. That was that's probably the highlight of it, where he's like,
Yeah.
there's no way I will lose. No, no, no chance. So thank you for accepting your mantle of clownliness, and I know you'll wear it with pride until the next episode, whenever we award it to one of us three, or maybe to Wings for missing the episode. But that's a
if
story
he
for
ever
another
shows
time.
up again.
If he ever shows up, he just might like just gone. Now let's move on to our XCFL user of the week, and me and Drew kind of jointly agreed on this one. Drew, do you want to tell us? Do you want to go through? I mean, you just kind of self roasted so well. I want to reward you, sir, and go ahead and lead us into why did we pick this user of the week, and who is it?
So I'll lead it up a little bit. Why we picked this user was not based off of content, not based off of gameplay whatsoever. No big wins.
Not
Um,
really any wins.
yeah, really. I mean, there might be one in there. I don't know. But so when we talk about trades, and specifically bad trades, very, very bad trades, we think of one name in the XCFL, and that is going to be our very own bracket.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
So, so for our user of the week, it is going to be bracket. And as I said, it wasn't gameplay, it wasn't content. It was the two absolutely probably the best trades of the year that bracket somehow pulled off. I don't know if he offered like 0% interest over like
There's a
2 years
car.
or
There was a car thrown in. A Volkswagen is moving in the other direction. That's all I know. That's the only way for the trade to make sense for the other side.
but I mean bracket. You got for Orlando Brown, Marcus Peters, and Malik Harris. I don't even know who these guys are.
Two
I'll be
firsts.
honest.
Two firsts from a
You
from a
got
top 10 first user traditionally.
no,
A
no, no,
traditionally
not
top
even
10
top
first.
10. Not even top 10. Top 5. Maybe even top
Bam.
3 this year.
I didn't say that, Aries. I didn't say that. Trade with me, please.
Maybe even
Please.
he's got no first to send. What do you want?
Fair, fair.
You got bracket. You got 2 firsts and a second for your fucking for the stuff that you throw out, right? You're throwing that stuff out. You don't need it. Your team's deep as hell, and it's just gonna get deeper from those picks. And then on top of that, you message in our chat, and all of a sudden you're asking us if you should send Calais Campbell away.
And then he says, for a second, or was it a third or second?
No, a second and a future fourth
That's
from
insanity.
Busy.
The fact that it said a second and the fact that it even had an and in it was like, send it. It
The
was
fact
like
that it even said second in it.
the fact that it said anything in it. I mean, he's a one and done. He's
Calais
34.
Campbell is going to retire.
He's
No,
34. I
35.
know.
He's 35.
Oh my god.
Bracket, but man,
Yeah, well played.
hats
Well
off.
played.
Hats off. I mean, that's great.
See, do you think it's a sympathy trait? No, no, no. Okay. For in all honesty, I gotta, Drew. That was hilarious because like you made it sound like I have never heard somebody give a compliment in such a way that Brackett is gonna go home and be like deeply, deeply tumultuous in his emotional self. He will sit here and think, "Did I just get cooked?" Or are they proud of me? And just like he'll just sit there and ponder this because I think you worded it in such a very artful way that I don't think you could have done it better. So, but hats off to you, Brackett.
Yeah,
You have done very well,
feels
sir.
dirty now.
Yeah, but would you like to accept your award that kind of maybe got licked a couple times?
Yeah, I'll
Would you-
take it.
we'll
I
give you
appreciate
we'll
it,
give
bro.
you this beautiful sandwich from Jersey Mike's, but Drew might have licked it all the way down.
Ugh,
Can neither confirm nor deny, but here's your sandwich.
jeez.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. But hold on. Before we wrap this up, bracket, bucket. I don't know which one we have tonight. You seem more like bracket than bucket
That is true.
at times.
Appreciate that.
But
Because you're
can
not at
you
like
like
2 decibels. You're at normal talking level, not normal talking level for a mouse.
Heard that.
Heard
can
that.
you can you walk us through how you just absolutely bent over Aries and Busy?
I mean, the Aries one, it was something he kind of offered. I mean,
Oh,
his original offer was he wanted Marlon Humphrey, and I just told him no. Like, flat out, I
Nah.
don't want to trade him. I'm not interested. It's a lot to offer, but I have to keep him. We talked back and forth a little bit, and he's like, "Well, what about Marcus Peters?" I was like, "Well, wait a second. I mean, yeah, I can move him. I mean, so
But
I
at what
already
point did
planned on
two
trying
firsts? At what point did two firsts get thrown around?
so he had offered he wanted Marlon Humphrey and Hollywood Brown. I was like, I'm not
Hmm.
moving either one.
Questionable.
Yeah, I'm not moving either one of those. Period. And then we moved from there. And then he put up the offer saying that he needed a linebacker too. And I was like, well, he's young and he's going to be solid, but he needs a little bit of building. And he took Malik Harris, and he said he was the right combination of what he was looking for. So I'm just happy that he got kind of what he was looking for. He
I'm sure you are.
I really hate you.
Nah, I mean
Nah,
that is
his
funny
first game
that
out, he stood toe to toe with Pride. I mean, he literally put himself in field goal range and missed the kick to tie it to go into overtime. So maybe it did. Maybe it put his roster in a better spot, and I hope that it did.
for sure gonna put your roster in a better spot.
that's the truth. Oh man.
I
Well,
won't apologize for that.
nah, bracket. I mean, it was a good. I think it's a well negotiated trade. And again, the way the XCFL works, if you've been here a long time, you've proven you're, worth keeping around, and you've been loyal to a team. Doesn't matter if you drive them into a ditch. We're still gonna be like, all right. I mean,
A
it's
ditch
your
is too
right.
a ditch is too nice. That was more like I don't even know, man. Off a cliff into a volcano, whatever.
to a volcano. Oh man, just your average cliffside volcano. It's just kind of casual. It's not real talk. I mean, great job, buddy, and welcome to the respectable traders table. When people walk into your trade discussions now, they'll be like, wait a second, I've seen Bucket fleece some dudes. I don't know. I got to make sure I don't get fleeced by Bracket, because man, there's nothing worse than getting fleeced by the fleece king. The guy that is like getting fleeced by a sheep is the worst.
Wow.
Man, you grow fleece on your back.
Damn.
Like, nah, dude, you can't fleece. Oh my god. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. All right, for real. So, Drew, you want to take us out, sir? It's been a great podcast. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, I did too. Bracket, thank you for showing up.
You got it, buddy.
I,
I'll always be here. You know,
Wings, we expect
All
better.
right.
You're not
Bum
making you're not making the graphics for us. You're
True.
not getting those points.
And they're garbage
Um,
graphics, but we don't care because we're not giving him those user points.
yeah, yeah. So, and then Alex, thank you for showing up. That was great. We'll probably have you back. You did a great job today.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
And then what? You know what? We'll hopefully do this again next week. Maybe you know what? Alex was great. Maybe we'll bring him back. Maybe we'll bring in, someone everyone loves, like Rob. We won't be bringing in Higgy because if we bring in Higgy and Rob, it's going to be like a middle school brawl over a girl or something. Um,
And the
but
girl is the
yeah,
draft.
yeah, yes, it is.
really
Sadly.
crap.
See, it's like a middle school brawl over a girl that's like okay looking, Do you remember those girls that you were just like that guys would get into like straight up like hardcore arguments like, dude, no, I swear to God, Britney Spears is halfway decent looking, or like who is one? I'm trying to think of a classic one. Oh,
What?
no, 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 no. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Lindsay Lohan was one, I think. Lindsay Lohan is like, all right, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. Pardon my
So we're
interruption.
gonna
Pardon
yeah,
the interruption.
pardon that. So I'm gonna take us out now. Thanks for listening. Feedback, any feedback, send it to probably just me, because Regan isn't great at DMs.
I am
But
not.
yeah, we any feedback is welcome. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll probably be back next week, hopefully.
I'm not great at a lot of things, Drew.
Okay, let's get it.